The sun is going down. The fire is already lit. And the man who left this morning to hunt still isn't home. At first, nobody worries. Hunts run long. Animals lead people further than planned. But then the light fades completely, and the fire becomes the only thing anyone can look at, because looking at each other means seeing the same fear. He might be lying somewhere with a broken leg. He might be tracking a herd 2 valleys over. Or he might already be gone. And the terrifying part is, they may never actually find out which. For most of human history, this moment happened constantly. And what came next wasn't just grief. It was a crisis that could break a tribe apart. This is what actually happened when a hunter never came back. The hours that decided everything. In small hunter-gatherer groups, every able body mattered. Anthropologists studying surviving hunter-gatherer societies have found a consistent pattern. When someone didn't return by nightfall, the tribe didn't panic immediately. They waited because false alarms were common and searching in the dark was its own kind of death sentence. But once night fully set in, a decision had to be made. Send searchers out and risk losing more people to the same darkness, the same terrain, the same predators. Or wait until dawn and risk that waiting cost a life that could have been saved. There was no good option, only the least bad one, and whichever one a tribe chose said everything about how they valued a single life against the safety of everyone else. What a missing hunter actually cost a hunter wasn't just a person. He was calories. He was defense. He was knowledge of the terrain, the water sources, the migration patterns of prey. Losing him meant losing all of that at once, in a group that likely had no surplus to absorb the shock. Researchers studying small-scale societies have found that the loss of a single adult hunter could measurably strain a group's entire food supply for months. And it wasn't just about food. If he had a mate, she now faced raising children with one less provider. If he was young, his skills and knowledge died with him, unfinished, untaught. If he was older, decades of hard-won survival wisdom simply vanished. Every missing hunter was a small collapse inside the tribe's foundation, and everyone left behind had to absorb a piece of the weight. But the hardest part wasn't the loss itself. It was what came after it, because there was one thing this tribe would never get that almost every grieving group today takes for granted. Grief without answers. Here's the part that makes this different from an ordinary death. There was no body, no burial, no place to grieve, just an absence that never fully closed. Psychologists call this ambiguous loss, and modern research shows it's often harder to process than a confirmed death, because the mind can't stop running scenarios. Maybe he's hurt somewhere, waiting. Maybe he's still alive. Maybe he'll walk back into camp tomorrow. Archaeologists believe this uncertainty shaped some of the earliest funeral-like rituals in human history, symbolic ceremonies held even without a body, giving grieving families some form of closure when the physical world refused to provide it. A fire lit in his usual place, his tools left untouched for a season, small quiet acts that let people grieve something they couldn't bury. If you've ever lost someone without getting real answers, this channel exists to dig into exactly this kind of buried human history, so hit subscribe if that's the kind of story you want more of. Rebuilding around the gap. And then, eventually, the tribe had to keep moving. This is the part that sounds cold, but was actually survival. Roles were redistributed almost immediately, because a gap in hunting or defense left the whole group exposed. Anthropological studies of small band societies show that widows were often quickly repaired with another member of the group, not out of a lack of grief, but because raising children alone in that environment was close to impossible. Children absorbed extra teaching from other adults. Hunting routes were adjusted to cover fewer hands. And slowly, the shape of the tribe closed back around the space where one person used to stand. But he wasn't forgotten. His name likely lived on in stories told at the fire, warnings about which terrain to avoid, which animal trail turned dangerous, which river ran faster than it looked. In a world with no written history, the dead kept teaching through the mouths of the living. Back to the fire. So think about that fire again, the one burning while everyone waits and says nothing. That hunter from the beginning, the one who never made it back, he was never found. No search party discovered him days later. No story ever confirmed what happened in those woods. The tribe simply had to keep living beside a question mark for the rest of their lives, and that unresolved absence is exactly the point. Today, if someone doesn't come home, there are search parties, phones, GPS, entire systems built to bring people back, or at least bring answers. Back then, there was only firelight, silence, and a question that might never be answered. And yet the tribe survived it every time by doing the only thing they could: grieving without closure, adjusting without complaint, and carrying the missing forward the only way they knew how, in memory, at the fire, one story at a time.